the top. 5, 6, 7. We go 1, 2, cross, 2, 2, cross, 3, 2, cross, and a 4, 2, cross. Around 2, 3, 4, 5. Reverse the other way. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Switch. And backwards. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Switch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Down. And then let's add on one more variation, but it's based around what we've just done. We've just gone forward on the right, forward on the left, back on the right, back on the left. Now we're going to go forward on the right, and then we're going to go back on the left. We're going to hold, and then we go forward on the left, and back on the right. And cross, cross, forward on the right, left, back on the right, back on the left, forward on the right, back on the left, hold, forward on the left, back on the right, hold. So, welcome everybody to the ABC of Jazz. Today's step is going to be based around the paddles. Now the paddles means we have to work the hips a bit, so we're going to do a little warm up for the hips. The first thing we're going to do is bend the knees and then stand up straight. And bend the knees and stand up straight and bend the knees and stay down. Now I'm always thinking pressing my toes into the floor. Not that I'm lifting the heels up, but I feel I could. The weight goes forward into the front of the foot. I feel that my shoulder, if you drop a line from the middle of the shoulder, would actually go over the front of the foot rather than the back of the foot. Yeah? Okay, so we're in this down position, and I'm now going to isolate my hip, and I'm going to move it from side to side, like it's a bucket of water, and I'm tipping the water out of one side, and then I tip it out of the other side. 1 and 2, and 1 and 2, and 1 and 2. So we go side to side. And then we can take it forward, relax, push it forward, relax, push it forward and relax. Now we can go forward and side and back and side. Forward and side and back and side. Forward, side, back, side. Now circle. Circle the hips around. Circle the hips around as big as you can. Around and around and around. And now let's go forward, other way, side, back, side, forward, side, back, side, circle around in the other direction, circle around big as you can. We're just isolating the hips, moving around, moving around, moving around. And we're going to use those circles later on when we start to do some paddles. So we'll circle one way and then circle back the other way. And we can, as we said, go quicker and slower. Cool. Having said that, we're going to do some movement therapy. What that means is I put a tune on and you just copy me, and we're just moving around. Try and really get a nice foot extension with the arms and the legs when we do them. So we start with the bounce. Shoulders up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. 1. Hips, hips, side to side. 1, 2, 3, circle, bounce. Keep it nice and bouncy. Circle and reverse. Next. When I walk out, and who give you that? My baby. And bounce on the toes. Got me just and arms. The next. And bounce. Who walked in when I walk out? 1, 2, 3, 4. And bounce. One more time. 1, 2, 3, 4. This time, take it behind. Tap. 1, 2, 3, 4. And bounce. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm just going to turn to sides, you can see. 1, 2, 3, 4. Bounce. 1, 2, 3. Swing the arms. 1, 2, 3, 4. Swing those arms from the shoulders. Add a kick. 1, 2, 3. Make it bouncing. Kicks. Bouncing. And sing. Bouncing. And angle. Crazy legs. Add some arms, swish up and down. 1. And hip. Feet. And the toes out. Kicks. Oh, that's it. I hope you're a little bit warmed up. The first step we're going to do is the paddles, and it's going to be based really on just a one step. And the one step is just 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. I'm just literally walking forward for 1, 2, or back for 1, 2. Just slide the feet across the floor. Go forward. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Haven't got another room, just do it on the spot. 7 and 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. However, now what we're going to do is turn around our left foot, and I'm going to just walk 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm turning in a circle. And then let's go around the right foot, going to our right. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Then I could go, stay on the right foot and go backwards. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Switch the weight onto the left foot and go backwards with the right. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Wow, that's a lot. So we're just taking a one step, which is literally just one step at a time. Haven't got a big room, so we're just turning in a circle. But now I'm going to narrow the circle to on the spot, and I'm basically going to imagine there's a pin running through one foot, and I'm just walking around that pin, and then go the other way, then go backwards, and then go backwards. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You get the idea. Yep. Just as much space as you got, just go round in a circle. We go. 1, 2. Now make it smaller. Round one foot. 4. Reverse direction. 1, 2, 1, 2. Backwards. Reverse. Forward. Around one foot. Reverse. Backwards. And reverse. Imagine you're in a canoe. So it'll be a bit slower now. So you're going to imagine you've got a canoe and your paddle is your right foot and you pull yourself around. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So what I'm going to do without turning, I put my foot in front and I pull myself around and I'm just going to mark the time with the left heel. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So if it's a problem turning, just do it on the spot. But otherwise, we're going to turn 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Switch the weight. So now I'm on my right foot. So now we're going to paddle. I'll do it without turning. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Or if I turn to the right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And can you see how I'm leaning? So when I want to go to my left, I lean to the left, I anchor the weight on the left foot, and I pedal around with the right toe. And when I want to change weight, I paddle around with the left toe, going with my right shoulder dropped. So the idea is, if we keep changing directions, you shouldn't get dizzy. Yeah. So of course you go in different directions. Okay, let's do it slowly. So stand on the left foot. Let's paddle with the right foot, turning over our left shoulder. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now we've reversed on the right shoulder. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Cool. You can also see that I'm actually keeping one leg not dead straight, but straightish. So one knee is bent, because if they were both the same, it looks a bit sort of, doesn't look so cool. It's better to lean onto one side, so one leg is straighter, and now we can actually start to use the hip. Now it depends on the speed of music. If it's fast, you'll be straight, but if the music's a bit slower, I can actually roll the hip as I paddle around. So for slower music, we like to add a little bit extra, a little bit of spice by rolling the hip. Let's do it without moving. So my weight's on the left foot, yep, and my hip is over to the left. As I put my right foot out, I'm going to push the hip over and I'm going to roll it round in a circle. So it's probably more of an oval, to be honest. It's moving around, putting me around. And then I'm going to use that as I pull myself around. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. Change weight. Let's do it without turning. My hip is over this side. I push it around and I bring it back. But it's not just isolating the hip. I'm actually using my left toe to pull my hip over. And 1, 2, and 1, 2, and 1, 2, and 1, 2. Now we can travel around. So I slightly put the foot in front of me and I pull myself around. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And if you're anything like me, my hip works better in this direction. I can take a much bigger movement, and in this way I get stuck a bit. So you might find one side easier than the other. Now, when the music's slow and you've got lots of time, you're filling in that time by adding some hips. So we want to get the arms out the way, because you don't want to block, you can't see my hips going around if my arms are in the way. So normally I put the arms up and I move the hips around to emphasize the hips. Remember, that's if it's slow. If it's fast, you just want to get round. Yeah, there won't be time for a big roll. But if the music's slower, you can roll the hip, and obviously it would depend. So what I'm going to do is pop some music on and watch you do some rolls. Let's have a look.
Like vanilla, chocolate with
5, 6, 7, and 1, 2, 3, 4. In your own time.
Pistachio, tutti tutti frutti, tutti tutti frutti.
Okay, cool. Two things. Number one, if you're, imagine, I call it a paddle because it feels a bit like being in a canoe. And if you're in a canoe and you want to turn in a circle, you wouldn't put it here and do this because you're not going to go very far. You'd put it in front of you. So you want to, the more you can get the foot in front of you, the more you can pull yourself around. Yeah, that's one trick. The other one is, I know we did an exercise at the beginning of isolating the hips, but now you want the hips and the legs to work together. So you maybe don't want to, well, you could do it a little bit crazy like that, but you want to think it's your toe is pulling your hip. Your toe is leading that movement. There's some resistance on the floor and it's pulling you around. So it's not just moving the hip independently. Yeah, we're letting the toe pull us round. And again, you want to think lean in one direction and then swap and lean in the other direction. And if you're walking on a tightrope, you'd have the arms out for balance. So it's quite nice. I also think it means that we can see your hips because it's a frame, yeah? And you can see the hips as they move around, whereas, yeah, again, it's a little bit hidden. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, one more time, I'll do it with you. One more time.
A tutti tutti frutti.
5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Tutti 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 frutti. Tutti tutti tutti.
Now, if we went forward, we can also go back. Although, I tend not to do as big a hip when I go backwards. Boom. 1, 2, 3. So it's more just put the foot behind you and reverse, like we're going backwards on a canoe. Yeah. I'm going to leave the backwards for now because let's move on. There's another variation we can do that's really nice. And it's going to look like this. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And a 1, 2, 3. I call it like the snake because it was a ragtime dance that did this sort of snaky action. So we're getting that flavour of touch and step. Touch and step. You touch one toe to the side, sort of change way, so it could be a step and a board, or it could be a step and a drop the hill, and then you step across. So essentially what we're doing is just touch to the side, drop the hill, step in front. Touch, hill, drop. We can mix the timing up. We can go 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 5 and 6, 7 and, we're in that room. Or we can go 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. We can do it slower. We can go 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Or we can go 1 and 2, 3 and 4. And that will depend on the music, but the movement's the same. It depends if it's fast or slow music. Let's try one together. So let's stand on the left and let's go 1 and 2. Touch and step. Touch and step. Touch and step. And now add the paddle motion. So as I touch, I roll the hip, step. Touch, roll the hip, step. This time I'm rolling and it helps my foot to step. Roll and step. Let me do it facing once. So I go touch and step. Touch and step. Hips, boom. Hips, boom. Paddle and cross. Paddle and cross. I'm not really crossing, I'm just putting one foot in front of the other. I'm basically going touch to the side, touch to the side. Well, touch in front. Touch in front, touch in front. But I'm adding the paddle, touch and cross. Touch and cross. Let's try that with the music. 6, 5, 6, 7, 1 and 2. 5, 6, 7. One more time. 5, 6, 7. Okay. 5, 6, 7. 1 and hold. 1 and slow. 3 and step. 1 and step. We always have one foot that's slightly better than the other. So when you did it, I think it was on your left side, you did touch and step. It looks like it was in sync. When you did it the other side, you sort of did touch, hip, step. So you want to try and think on both sides, touch and step, touch and step. Let me turn around. So your hip and your toe. So that's what I mean, the foot's being, the hip movement rather, the rotation is being led from this toe, pulling you, step, pulling you around. So it's not my hip isolated step, it's 1 and 2, hold, 1 and 2, hold, 1 and 2. Does that make sense? Practice is another matter, but you get the theory. Okay, let's put the moves together now. Let's make a little sequence. We're going to start with our side basic. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Stand on the left foot. Take the right toe out. 1, 2, 3, hold 4. 5, 6, 7, hold 8. 1, 2, 3, hold 4. 5, 6, 7, hold 8. I've now got my right foot free, so I'm going to paddle around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and reverse. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and stop. I'm now going to go backwards on my right foot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, reverse. Left, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, reverse. And I find when I go backwards, I wouldn't worry too much about trying to roll the hip. I just concentrate on getting round. Okay, from the top, 5, 6, 7. We go 1, 2, cross, 2, 2, cross, 3, 2, cross, and a 4, 2, cross. Around 2, 3, 4, 5, reverse the other way. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, switch. And backwards 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, switch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, down. I think it's quite nice if you actually exaggerate that lean, particularly when you go backwards, so it gives it some shape. 7, 8. 5, 6, 7. Around. Reverse. Backwards. Reverse. Ooh, it's faster, isn't it? Fast. Here we go. Ready? 5, 6, 7, 8. 1 and 2, 3 and 4. Round we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Backwards. Reverse. And then let's add on one more variation, but it's based around what we've just done. We've just gone forward on the right, forward on the left, back on the right, back on the left. Now we're going to go forward on the right, and then we're going to go back on the left. We're going to hold, and then we go forward on the left, and back on the right. Let's see if that works. Let's go from, we've just done our step crosses. So let's do forward on the left, forward on the right, back on the right, back on the left. So forward on the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and reverse. Forward on the left. 5, 6, hold. Back on the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, reverse. Back on the left. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, stop. Now we're going forward on the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, swap. But now we're going to go backwards with our left foot. 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, wait. We're now going to go forward on the left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, drop. Backwards on the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, hold. Let's try it together. We'll try it from the top. We'll be fine. Here we go. And cross. right. Back on the left. Forward on the right. Back on the left. Hold. Forward on the left. Back on the right. Hold. One thing you want to do though, a couple of little tips, is number one, try and be quite straight. I wouldn't lean forward because that's going to be difficult, because I see this happening with your body a little bit, and that's going to make you dizzy. If you start doing this, that's really hard. So I imagine there's a pole running through my head that goes through the foot I'm standing on. And so if you notice, this is making a very small circle. If I start to do this with my head, everyone gets dizzy. Yeah. So when I go forward in one direction, I suddenly switch. Now I'm plunged over the other foot. Now I go backwards or forwards, it doesn't really matter. But I'm trying to keep the head as still as possible, my body as straight as possible, and I'm moving the foot and adding some hips if the music allows it. So I hope that makes sense. So ABC of Jazz, what we do is we pick a different move every week. So this week's move was paddles. You're going to build up a repertoire of steps. And then the idea is that all the steps, you find ways as you're dancing, you're improvising maybe to the music, or even this step, by the way, is very popular in Balboa. So you can do this with a partner. Yeah. So it's a fun step to do. You can add lots of rotation. You can keep it quite small, have it more of a sort of intimate feeling, or you can make it big. Yeah, you can add some arms to it. So it's quite a fun step. We're looking at ways we take our vocabulary, and like you learn a vocabulary when you learn a language, it's then how can we express ourselves when we want to have a conversation, in this case on the dance floor.